Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alexis Fish, the Director of Product Marketing here at Foundation Source. We're happy to have you joining. Today's discussion promises to be both interactive and informative. Throughout the presentation, you can enter questions via the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen. We'll leave time at the end to answer your questions. Additionally, if we don't have time to answer all of your questions, please know that we'll follow up with you directly after the webinar. Foundation Source is the nation's largest provider of specialized support services for family and corporate foundations. Today, we work with more than 2,000 foundations to help them bring their philanthropic visions to life through a combination of administrative, compliance, technology, and advisory services. These capabilities allow philanthropists to focus on strategy and giving while having the knowledge that their foundations are running smoothly and compliantly. We work in partnership with financial advisors, legal and accounting professionals, family offices, as well as directly with individuals, families, and corporations. The combined assets of our client foundations exceed over $21 billion. I'm pleased to have you joining me today for this technology demonstration. A little bit about me. As I mentioned, I'm the Director of Product Marketing, and I have over 15 years of experience as a professional in the philanthropic space. Formerly, I was a grant manager and used a variety of technology platforms. I then worked at a grant-making vendor company, working with grant-making organizations to optimize their philanthropic impact, and I became Lean certified. So it's with this lens that I'm thrilled to be speaking with you today about Impactfully by Foundation Source. Impactfully is part of Foundation Source's suite of services that can provide a complete outsourced solution for private foundations focusing on these three pillars: administration, technology, and philanthropic advisory. Our cloud-based foundation management tools support more than 7,000 users, and in the past year, we processed over 41,000 grants on behalf of our clients, representing more than $1 billion in charitable assistance. And since inception, Foundation Source has distributed more than 3,800,000 grants for our clients, totaling approximately $7 billion. Those are some big numbers. And as you know, Americans are among the most generous people in the world. As you can see, charitable giving has grown dramatically over the past 40 years and continues to be a growing sector. Even prior to the global pandemic, philanthropic giving has seen a continuous incline from $150 billion in 1979 to approximately $450 billion last year. Private foundations specifically offer a flexible and complete philanthropic toolkit. Today, you'll hear about the technology, which is the chassis that supports our philanthropic services. Whether you're engaging with us for our full service back-end office and compliance support, or just the DIY technology platform. We know that you have pains when it comes to your philanthropic giving, such as workflow and task management, supporting the complete grant lifecycle, disparate tasks, and of course, reporting. And we have solutions, both technology and service related. Our Impactfully Foundation Management Platform contains the 4 essential elements you will see today: dynamic operational dashboards, right-sized grants management, integrated expense workflows, and actionable reporting and analytics. In the next half hour, I hope to answer all of your questions. As I mentioned at the start, this is a session for you, so please ask your questions in the chat box. With that, let's go ahead and dive in. So here we are starting off at the initial dashboard area. Now, as you can see in this dashboard, Impactfully's human-centered design makes the platform easy to navigate and intuitive to learn. With only 3 different styles of pages, doing what you need is easy. You're always welcome by the operational dashboard with your quick links and your mission match nonprofit search at the top that is run by a keyword search. Now, this welcome bar has all of your own personalized quick links to find things easily. What I want to point out is right here in the top right-hand corner, when I click over my name, you can see Transact For. The Transact as feature It's wonderful for admins who want to configure board members' dashboards, or even for do-it-yourself grants managers who perhaps are helping an applicant or acting on behalf of someone else. I'm going to go ahead and click on Vivian here, and then click on the refresh button. So that way you can see how the dashboard changes to reflect Vivian, right? You can see that there are more easy to find links right up at the top. In addition, the tiles down below put the information that you need at your fingertips, including down here in the to-dos. In this section, you can see that it holds all of your grants made, payments due, expenses, applications in progress, any outcome reports coming in, and of course, your task list as well. Can hold both your own task list and if you are assigning tasks to other people. So what I could do if I wanted to is jump down to the bottom and see all of my outcomes to review. But what I want to focus on next is the second kind of page in our system. If we go up here to the very top left-hand corner, and I then click on grants, and then let's say I'm going to click on voting required. Now we're here in the second kind of page within the system. This is called the workspace. Here in the workspace, I can see all of my records in batch. Right here. I can also go ahead and perform any actions in batch. So in this page, you can see that it's easy to work with and see all of the different records that need actions. So that's really what your workspace is, right? A place where you can get your work done. I want to point out that here on the workspace, also down at the bottom, you can easily see the summary of the entire page. And in this view, the columns are completely configurable to fit your needs and the needs of your trustees, board, and more. So I want to pause just for a quick moment to tell you a story of one of our clients. She's an executive director named Shannon. Now, she has a background as a lawyer and a business owner, and recently she took on a new role as an ED. So this person knows a lot about technology and is one of the smartest people that I know. Now, she loves Foundation Source for lots of reasons, and one of them is because of Impactfully. The technology is so intuitive that her board actually uses it and logs in, which makes Shannon happy, of course. And how many times have you seen software purchased, or you might be in this situation yourself, where you purchase gorgeous looking software, but it's never used? So if you'd like to learn more about Shannon and her story, just send me a message in the chat and I'm happy to shoot you the link. One last thing before I leave this page. I want to point out the filters here at the top. Within the filters, you can quickly change the data that you want to see. And your summary will always update down at the bottom. This means you don't have to go into a separate reporting area and spend time pulling in custom fields to get the information that you need. I want you to know that custom reporting is offered across our platforms for you to do it yourself, right? And in our do it yourself version, but this quick view is always available as well. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and show you the third kind of page within the system. That is our detail page. So right here, when I clicked onto my grant record account, I have this very nice flyout that will show me, first of all, quick information that I want to see about voting. And we do have an automated voting process that you can set up for committee voting, trustee voting, even your expense payment voting. So a really nice way that the system helps keep you all, your foundation, compliant within your own internal processes. What I want to point out up here is that you can see the entire grant summary in one page, right? I can even perform my different actions right from here if I choose to. Notice the consistent look and feel of navigation as I move through the detail page. One other thing that I want to point out is that it's very easy for me to scroll up and down between the different records as I'm going. So you don't constantly have to click back to the workspace to see something. So anything that saves you a couple of clicks is always good. Now, if I want to see the complete organization history, all I need to do is click on the hot link here at the top. Now we are seeing all of the related information for this organization, and we're seeing a complete activity recap. So just imagine that your executive director is running out the door to go meet with the CEO of a nonprofit partner, and they ask you to quickly sum up what is the history between the two organizations. Wonderful. It is all right here. And in addition to that, we of course have a mobile app as well. So let's say you're on the go and you're asked this information, or your ED is on the go, they can just pull up their mobile device and see the giving history. Beyond just the giving and partnership history here, you're also able to see all of the different grants, right? So we were on one grant before that required specific voting history, but here you can see a history of all the different grants, what is complete and what is still pending approval. You can see any outcomes reports that have been sent in as well, if they're past due or not. If there was any additional contacts besides your primary contact, and then if there's any notes, right? Either notes that you've put on there or your program officer, your board, really easy to see all in one place. So not only is it easy to see information within these different pages, it's easy to navigate within the entire browser. So what does that mean exactly? Let's say I want to skip back here to the dashboard and I'm ready to go ahead within my grant making cycle. And I know that I want to give a grant to something that I care deeply about. Let's say perhaps a nonprofit that supports dogs. All I have to do is type in dog here up at the top, and I'm able to see all charities within the Foundation Source proprietary charity listing that exist. And we can see a couple of different kinds of options in here. I can also, I just want to point out, see all different organizations that I have given a grant to related to dogs. So back here in my all charities list, there's a couple of different things we're seeing. We're seeing a charity on hold and we're seeing a verified public charity. Next to the verified public charity, this is where I'm able to give a grant. Now, the difference between these two things is that you're able to put into the system or ask you to put into the system any kind of organization you want. However, it may not be a verified public charity. So how does something become verified? Our own staff will go ahead and do that verification, right? So let's say, for example, the IRS master database isn't updated yet, right? That's always the sort of first place that we go if it's verified with the IRS master business file. Wonderful. However, we all have experiences with the time delay, right? And they only update it on a certain cadence. So what Foundation Source has done is we have the certifications available and the in-house staff to go ahead and verify the charity, and you can put in a request for a charity search as well. So you could see any completed charity research cases, open charity research cases, etc. So in this way, the technology and our full service offering help keep you compliant in terms of your giving within the IRS guidelines as well. So a really nice service there that you get from both the technology and our full service offering. Speaking of keeping you within compliance, I want to then point out here your finances. Within Impactfully Plus, which is one of our multiple technology offerings, you're able to see your finances. What this is doing is clearly pulling your asset summary into the system. So you're able to see it right here. Now, I do want to point out that Foundation Source doesn't manage your assets, right? This would be a way for you to see what you have. And it is the way that our folks in the back end can organize the distribution for you, right? So we can cut the checks with your name and your logo on them. We make sure that your minimum distribution requirement is up to date. So what I want to point out here is that you can always see the total. And of course, this information is always available to you, and you're always supported by us in the back end with our full service offering. Now, across all of our technology, we also have expense tracking available. Expense tracking can happen in a couple of different ways. You can do a batch upload of your expenses. Let's say you use a QuickBooks or another expense kind of software. You can make sure to get that information in there. You can also have expenses on a voting cadence as well, right? So not only is it requests that you can put on a voting cadence, payments, right, to double check, but of course also those kinds of expenses. You can also go ahead if you want to and create an expense one-on-one, and it walks you through a wizard and the exact information that you need to have. So this offering, right, this module is available across all of our technology offerings, Impactfully Plus and Impactfully Select. Something else that's available across the board in our technology is the way that you can customize the view within the detail page. So I want to pause here under Paid for a moment to dive in and show you what it looks like and how easy it is to customize your workspace. All I need to do is click on columns, and then here in columns, I can simply check off the fields that I would like to include in my view. And if I want to move a field up and down, it's as easy as a very simple drag and drop. Not only can I drag and drop my fields, but I can control how the data is displayed within the columns. I'm also able to relabel my fields. So here under column, you see the word tag. That is the system definition of this field. However, perhaps in my own organization, I'd use my tags to help further define the status, let's say, of an expense beyond just requested, pending, paid. Perhaps we have interim statuses, and tags are fantastic for doing that. So for my own internal purposes, I can relabel this as status. Then all I need to do is go ahead and click Save. And we can see here that my status is taken. I'm also able to very easily and quickly move my columns back and forth. I can save my own view as well. And again, my balance total is always very easily displayed down here on the bottom. So a really great way to be able to customize this information for what you need to see. And then also you can see in here, we're still under Vivian's account. So I have now helped set the view for Vivian. Other things that the technology helps you keep track of, both with our full services and our self-service offering, is going to be that minimum distribution. So I'm going to go back here to my dashboard, and this is my minimum distribution tile. I want to point out that this tile on Impactfully Plus is just what we're looking at right now. And all of these drawdown numbers are calculated by our professional services team to make sure that they are always up to date and always within compliance. And we can see that this organization is 31% complete. On our Impactfully Select offering, you can also see the drawdown against the minimum distribution requirement. The difference is that that is self-service and that you control it. Another thing that I want to point out up here is our tax center. If there is some sort of question or advisory, or you need to do something, your personal consulting advisor, if you're a full service client, will be able to post messages right up here for you. So it's really easy for you to stay on top of what you need. Something else that the system can do, and this happens in a bunch of different areas, not only here but also if we go down to the task management, if there is any tasks, when your reports automatically get sent out, is that all of these different kinds of reminders, if I set a task in the system, not only would I see a reminder for me in the system when I log in, but I could also set an email reminder, and it will hook up with, of course, any email system. So that way, we all know that we use technology in lots of different ways and lots of different times throughout our day. So we're getting reminders as we choose, in a couple of different ways, not just by logging into the platform, but proactively sent to us. So I do want to go ahead and make sure to show you also, what we can do, for example, within our reporting. So I mentioned a little bit before, and we saw the workspace, the sort of high level reporting in there. I want to take a moment to dive down and show you some of the reports that are available right out of the box when you purchase the system. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on, let's say, for example, this report, and you can see that it comes with actionable charts, and then the data is available for you right underneath. And this is available in a couple of different formats. We have a wide range of charts because in reports, because so many different kinds of data is all being held in one system, and the data all relates to each other very well. So that's why we can pull reports from multiple different places all into one streamlined, nice looking, action oriented report for you to use, or for you to perhaps have sent automatically out on a regular cadence to your accounting team or your board, your trustees. It's a great way for you to stay in the communications that your partners need without you always having to go into the system and run a report and then copy and paste it and email it out somewhere. The system will send it for you, and it will always be up to date. I want to point out all the way over here on the right-hand side, the different kinds of reports that we have. You can see financial reports, grant activity reports, grant request reports, etc. So while all of these sort of templated reports are very useful, we also have dynamic reports. This means that you can pull the data that you need to see specifically into the kind of report that you need to see specifically. So as I mentioned before, I was a grant manager, and one of the things that I'd have to do often is create reports. And it was almost always challenging because I could pull a certain set of data from one place and a certain set of data from another place. And then I would either have to manually combine that together to truly create the report that I want, or right, my company would have to buy something extra, some sort of overlay to be able to pull that data in. So maybe like a Tableau or BI, or right, one of those kinds of things, which of course contains extra cost as well, and then time and training and learning. So what we're seeing here, what I want to point out, is that information is available from lots of different areas within the system. The ones that are grayed out here is because they are like the child underneath the parent. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull a quick report here, so that way you can see how easy it is. I want to point out too that everything moves from left to right. It's very, again, intuitive. I don't have to write down on a separate piece of paper all the different steps that I need to create a report. So first I'm going to choose, let's just pick a few. I'm going to choose the information that I want. I'm going to choose the date that I want, right? My primary date, and then my recording. Let's do my fiscal year, and then apply. Something that you may have caught on and you may have seen throughout me working here is that there's always informational pop-ups that come up to remind me of the actions that I need to do. It really is self-explanatory. I love all of the different ways that I can see exactly what I'm supposed to do in different areas. So now that I've chosen what information I want to report on, I can now choose how I want to see it. So what I mean by that specifically is, first up here, and it's so nice that it's already available, I can choose the columns that I want to see. So let's say, for example, I want to see the applicant. Great. I can go ahead and check onto this box. And when I open my arrow, I can see that I have my provided applicant options and then my applicant, right? If somebody submits an application on behalf of somebody else. So then let's say, for example, after my applicant, I want to see a waiting info. Right? How many folks did I ask it for information for, and I am still waiting for? The next thing, perhaps I want to go and see my grant amount. And so not only do I want my grant amount perhaps to be a column, but let's say I also want to aggregate the grant amount. Perfect. And then let's say in terms of what things I want to aggregate, I want to do my requested amount. And it pops right up for me. I also want to point out that you don't have to do, an easy search in here. I could go ahead if I wanted to and just scroll down through here. So for example, if I'm looking for my paid amount, I can go ahead and do that to see if anything has been paid to these folks so far. Let me see. These are, I tend to try and do things with as few clicks as possible. So I often do start just typing in exactly what I need in the interest of time. Whoops. So I can see my payments amount and drag it under if I want to, and I could also see, let's see, did I already do my granted amount? I did my granted amount. Oh, I can see my recommended amount. Great. All right, we're looking good. I want to point out that I can put this into a pivot table as well. And that means that I not only can group by row if I want to, like we can see my group by row here, and we can see how it's aggregated. I can also go ahead and group by column. So for my group by column, let's say I want to group by awaiting info. Wonderful. In a couple of different ways, easiest pivot table that we've absolutely ever created. So now that we have all this beautiful information, I of course could export it in lots of different ways. And then as I go down my right-hand column here, I can format it, right? I can add extra filters. I can export it into lots of different formats. I could also put in a PDF as well. I can hide certain columns if I want to, and of course I could put into a chart. Now I want to just show off our chart capabilities a little bit here. You notice all I had to do is click on a button, and now I can very easily format and choose the data I want, right? So perhaps how many folks am I waiting on to send me information? Lots of different ways that I can show this chart. And I can also, of course, choose my colors. I could add labels in here. If I want to add in a second chart, no problem. I just clicked on add chart. And again, really easy for me to choose the data that I want to include. Let's say I want to see the difference between requested amount and recommended amount. Hey, pretty close. Again, I want to point out in here that I can change the format of these really easily, and I can change the colors. If I want to add yet a third chart, right? Really easy to drag and drop and create dashboards that are meaningful and contain the information that not only I need as an admin, but that are going to make my board happy. So I'm going to go back to our main system here, and I do want to point out some additional features that we have. We have online applications and outcomes. This is if you collect applications from the nonprofit partners that you grant to. This is the application module. Now keep in mind that I don't have to log into something separate. in this single space. I can see my applications. I can see what's due. I can see what's under review in all of my different statuses, right? Voting required, not required, etc. Very easy. In addition to that, right here, I can also go ahead and create my new applications. One more thing. Let's say I have an organization, a nonprofit organization, who has applied to me in the past, and I don't need to ask them to resubmit everything, right? They have a portal, so their key information is already in there. But let's say I just want a quick update, or somebody already has a request in the system and I want to send them an application to just complete a couple more, bits of information. A little different than if I reach back out to somebody and ask them for information. All I have to do is go ahead and choose the application that I want to send them, right? So this is the application I'm sending out. And then right up here, I just enter in the organization. When I enter in the organization, I can choose whatever I want from my drop down. And from here, I can click on to Save Draft. Now, when I click on to Save Draft, if I wanted to, I could put the person's email directly in here and they would get an email. In addition to that, if I wanted to, I, of course, could copy this link. When I copy this link, you go ahead, I'll use this browser again. And this is what it's going to look like from the applicant point of view, right? So let's say I'm now the applicant. The foundation has sent me the application already. I click on the link. This is where I get. If I'm brand new, I'm going to create a new account. If I already have an account, it's very easy to go ahead and sign in. And I am always guaranteed that it is a secure account, because we have multi-factor authentication. And so I get a text message to go ahead and put that in. Beautiful. So again, with my applicant hat on now, here I am brought to the application so I can fill out whatever I need. In addition to being able to fill out an application that already exists, I can see all of my submitted applications. I can see the statuses as well. I can see if there's multiple forms from, right, or to this single foundation. What does that mean exactly? The nonprofit partners will have one giving hub that will hold all of the different applications that they fill out or information they fill out for all of the different foundations that are Foundation Source clients, right? So right now it just says one, right? Impactfully Demo Foundation. However, I could have applications from multiple different foundations in here. So for example, this foundation, right? My grantor, this is a different foundation. Same thing with my Harvest Family Demo, right? Lots of applications going to lots of different foundations in here. And I can see in my test account, they're all pending. The other thing that I can do, of course, is if there are any outcomes forms due, I would see them in here. I would see the due date and I could act on them. And of course, we know with filling out applications and philanthropic giving, nonprofits don't do it just alone. And for that reason, it's possible to invite multiple members into one Giving Hub account. This means that members, you can assign members to see specific information that you want them to help you fill out information as well, and be that partner. Now, beyond just seeing a to-do list and a task list, you're also able to put in best practice information, blogs, podcasts, etc. And we also have technical support as well for the nonprofit organizations. Back here to my dashboard, I do want to go ahead and click onto the administration feature in here. So that way you can see all of the different possibilities of the behind the scenes modules that are available. Now, as I pointed out, this is a high-level demo. If you have additional questions or want to see a deep dive on certain things, such as perhaps our applications and outcomes, our mobile device, how to import data, how easy that is, our impact planning, etc., please go ahead and contact your salesperson if you haven't already. If this is your first experience with us, welcome. We are so glad to have you here, and you will be able to reach out and schedule a call with somebody specific as well. So with that, and with the time in mind, I want to go ahead and make sure that we do leave time for any questions. Let's see. So this one says, when working with an existing foundation that's coming into your platform, what happens with the foundation's grant history? So this is a great question. You're able to easily import all of the foundation's grant history using our easy upload module, and everything matches just using either the tax ID. It's something that you can do yourself, or if you're using our full services option, we can go ahead and do that for you. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next slide just so you have something nicer to look at while I'm answering these questions. So this one says, do you ever work with corporations and their foundations? So we do. We work with lots of different kinds of foundations. We really stick with, grant making foundations, of course, so to help steward those grants going out the door. One thing that I do want to make sure to point out, and this happens with corporations frequently, is that we can do international equivalency determination as well for grants that go, overseas, or if you want to support staff in multiple different places. So that's an in-house capability that we have. Another question in here says, being that you don't manage the foundation's assets, how does money get to the foundation to facilitate grants, expenses, etc.? Right, sure. So that's what you saw in that finances section. So we can, we can hook up the bank, that specific account, to be able to draw funds from there. So that way, when we're cutting the checks on your behalf, that it's pulling. And when we say cutting the checks on your behalf, it's something where if you like to hand your nonprofit partner the check, that's perfectly fine. We, of course, can cut it and send it to you, but we keep track of the taxes, the compliance history, all of those sort of things in the back end. Well, that is a wonderful question to go ahead and end today on. Again, thank you all so much for joining us. And if you already are working with somebody to become a client of Foundation Source, that person will reach out to you. And if this is your first experience with us, again, welcome. And we look forward to talking to you soon.